Check. Good people. Someone asked me about Titanx recently. I just claimed a few 280-day miners, which is dope. They still profitable, you know. Well, those ones were. I had like 2 or 3 that I claimed. But yeah, listen, with these protocols, they just morphing themselves to become infrastructures now. I think Zen pretty much started that wave, and then now Titanx is doing it. Meaning, you know, it all goes back to the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, right? You know, Web 2 is the internet as you know it. You know, think of the internet as the blockchain base layer, and then applications like Facebook, Google, PayPal, and whatnot, Instagram or whatever, they settlement layers on top of it. So Web 2 is mainly applications that were competing against each other. Now you have Web 3 in the crypto space, where you have protocols competing against each other. Now, the likes of Titanx and Zen and whatnot, I like to think of them as protocols that wanna branch off and become ecosystems, become infrastructures. They're building something bigger, you know, and that's that's not an easy task to do. So first you're gonna have to, there will be some dilutions. There will be you spreading your hands too thin, because the founder will be just moving from A to Z to B to C, you know, and that just gonna cause liquidity to be thin in certain areas. Now, Titanx has a heavier liquidity because rightfully so, the founder amassed a lot of Ethereum, you know, and someone said allegedly it has admin keys, which is, you know, goes against certain alignment with the principles and whatnot, because nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes. You know, you can't really understand, you can't really fully digest what going on within that ecosystem monetarily wise. It can pump, and also let's not forget the founder has the ability to, you know, pre-plan certain things with his insiders, if he ever does that, to front run people. That's all admin keys means. You have access to the liquidity pool, you have access to certain things that the masses who are invested in the game are not. They don't have that kind of access. Now that also have disadvantages, but it also has advantages as well. You know, it's up to you, like whether or not, if you a core first principle believer, you would be careful with protocols like that. And if you like, hey man, I'm gonna take my chances and do X, Y, and Z, then you can look at it like what Hex did, because at some point Richard had the OA and everybody was scared to jump in. But to this day, the OA never sold. But the OA also has daughter addresses and son addresses, that thousands of addresses that can sell at the same time, and you don't know who's dumping on you. That's the disadvantages those things have. But the advantages of them is also the founder can orchestrate pumps. Let's just leave it at that, you know? And that's why it's really up to the end user. What do you want to do? Do you want to you say, hey man, I don't care about first principles, I just want to make this quick money, and then take the risk? If you lose it all, it's on you. Or do you want to take the first principle route and really embrace stuff like Dbxen, because Raz is really heavy on first principles, but it's going to take you a little bit longer to get there, you know, because when Raz built these protocols, he's really building it for the people, and say, you know what, the people would decide if Q is going to go to $100,000, the valuation of it, you know, that's pretty much a first principle. People choose price, people dictate price, you know, whereas the other side is a little bit more centralized in a decentralized manner. That's the only difference, you know. But yeah, that's the difference, you know. Protocols becoming infrastructures, it's really like, look, if you look at what Jack Levin and them are doing, right? Let's say he's kind of taking the Ethereum route and the Cardano route at the same time. If you remember what I mean, like let's say he takes the Ethereum route. The Ethereum devs are kind of like move fast and break things, 14 transactions per second and whatnot. But let's just keep on creating in this ecosystem and try to solve these problems. If launch it, if it fails, we repatch it up and then try to fix it and do something else. Whereas the Cardano route is not move fast and break things like Ethereum devs. Cardano is taking a different approach. It's a slower, but it's kind of like a peer-reviewed scientific research, meaning if we're going to put this out there, we got to make sure it's solid. And that's going to take a long time before before it's ready. Remember, it took from 2017 to 2020, 3 years from Cardano to move from the Byron stage to the delegated proof of stake thing. Shelley, when Shelley launched in May of 2020, it's already been 3 years since the last time you seen Cardano did anything, right? And then after Shelley launched, it took another year, all the way till September 2021 for Gorgon to launch. And finally, people are able to create and build smart contracts on top of Cardano. So with Jack testing out these blockchains and everything, that's pretty much what it's going to be, because it's looking like he's not just building one protocol, which is Zen. He's not building like just on top of Zen. I think he's trying to build a infrastructure. He's trying to build an ecosystem that will last for a long time. And for that kind of wave, it's going to take a little bit longer. And certain things will be hit or miss. That's all it is. So you pick your poison. That's what I'm trying to say. If you want that short-term, quick gain thing, bless. Titanx is right there for you, At any point, it can take off. I mean, Dragon X has better tokenomics than Titanx, in my opinion, because it's not overly inflating like crazy. Dragon X is a little bit more leaning towards the hex side, where this thing could pump. That's why a lot of the Dragon X supporters are saying, yo, 10,000X, we're going to go. Just like Dbxen has a limited supply. We're minting it every day, but it has a limited supply. You can't mint no more than 5 million tokens on any chain. That has better tokenomics than Zen, because Zen you can mint it for the next 7 years, Even though it's a little bit more Bitcoin-like, but the coin with the limited supply would always go up higher. That's what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, just it's up to you to pick your poison. If you diversified, that's cool. That's fine, because we never know, really. We don't know what's going to happen within the next 6 months to a year. The cool thing about it is competition is healthy. Now, if Titanx pump, suddenly it'll put Raz on alert, and then you're going to see him keep rolling out things to help Q, which would help Dbxen and protocols like NXT and all these other ones to also go up, And then that would put the trigger on Jack's side. Then maybe the X1 thing might roll out, and then Zen would also have a reversal on several different chains, just like it did last year. So that's all it is, It's all competition. Liquidity is more thick towards the Titanx side. Liquidity is thinner towards the Zen side, because we're everywhere. Zenians are just like protocols. It's like you when you overly dilute yourself, that's what happens. You spread your hands too thin. Investors, like economic exhaustions, it happens in protocols and ecosystems. That's what's kind of going on. I wish they concentrated it, which was cool. If they did a bit of concentration where they only stuck to a few chains, but then he couldn't have done that anyway, because you've seen the X1 story, for example. First, he really tested all of the chains. He had to. Then he figured, okay, I'm going to go with Matic. He took the Matic route, and then all of a sudden something went wrong with Matic, and then he's looking into DAG and hybrid chains and whatnot. With Phantom, something went wrong there too. And then now, fast forward to here, he's in Solana trying to do his third tizzle. That's just what it is, man. It's gonna, stuff like that is gonna take time. It's really up to the end user, you know, because it's very difficult to bring users into crypto, man. I'm telling you. Going back to the Web 2 and Web 3 talk, if you remember, going back to the difference between protocols and applications. The protocol era came in crypto when Web 3 really took off in crypto. And, you know, one application, though, that stood out and fought these protocols and managed to amass, let's say, millions, managed to amass millions of users, let's say 4 million end users, is Axie Infinity. And how did they do it? That's something you have to research yourself. How did Axie Infinity become so big last cycle? And it's an application, you know. And the 4 million people that got in mainly came from the meme coin crowd. Dogecoin to the moon people and all of these people, they start getting to gaming, Decentraland type stuff, and then all of a sudden, hey, let's go over to Axie Infinity, and then it took off. You know, they captured it at the right time. But there are applications in crypto, they just not as big as Axie Infinity. And one particular one is Electroneum's application, AnyTask. AnyTask also has about 3 to 4 million users, but those users are not crypto based by 90%, meaning that there's probably only 5 to 10% of it that are really heavy into crypto like that. Because if they were, you would have seen Electroneum way above $1, because there's no way you would discover AnyTask and you know nothing about Electroneum. I mean, it's one of the currencies you use to buy and sell on AnyTask to do some task, and whether you can get paid with Electroneum, you can also pay with Electroneum if you pick a task and you have people working for you, kinda, you know? So yeah, it's pretty much like that. And it's not easy to bring users into this crypto game. It's very, very difficult. That's why usually people wait till the bull market comes, and then they just take advantage of, oh yeah, what's bubbling, what's the next narrative, because narratives drive crypto. If Pepe is popping, you know, some new people are gonna get onboarded into the crypto space through Pepe. Some people are gonna get onboarded through some random meme coin. Some people, like the protocols that have use case and utility, usually they don't have the ability to bring a massive amount of people at the same time in a big way. It's usually some silly things, like in 2020 it was GameStop and Dogecoin really that popped the bubbles, and it brought people into crypto, right? Through these different trading applications and whatnot. And in 2021, same thing. Stuff like Shiba Inu took off, and people just, you know, it became a meme. Memes onboarded and recruited many people into the game, you know. Unfortunately, that's always the case. Like the protocols that are heavy in tech, and they have highly intelligent people that can help build these amazing things, they usually struggle to take it. That's why I said target the second half of 2025, meaning towards the end of the year, for protocols that are heavy in tech to really come up, because by that time the users who were doing silly things on Base and the silly memes on Solana, they would finally find their way towards X1 and Zen. They would find their way towards stuff like pulsechain and Dbxen and all these other protocols. It's gonna take time for those people to finally figure out, okay, this is where the good thing is if I want something long term rather than just short term gambling mindset. You know, that's why infrastructure is difficult. But yeah, man, let's keep it short. Like up the video, share it, subscribe for some crypto content. I have been Mr. Nakamoto Crypto, and I'm out.